Has it been since we talked? It's been a long time. I think I haven't done lives in maybe like 2 months now. Man, the end of the year gets really, really busy, even the beginning of the year. But I just thought it was important for me to come live and discuss some things, some questions that I just keep getting, asked, over and over again. So we're gonna just go straight into it. So it's a new year. Of course, we know we have a new administration coming in on January 20th, and so everyone wants to know just kind of like what to expect. Like are there any new immigration options we can offer? And that's kind of what I want to talk about. So this year we'll be expanding our practice. Long story short, to include T visas. So this is for if you know anything about TVs, as you know, the human trafficking has really, really increased over the past few years. So much so that we've always had a T visa, but now the T visa incorporates a lot more. So, for instance, if you work with an employer and you're supposed to be getting paid a certain amount and your employer is underpaying you, or they're paying you late, they're making delayed payments. Maybe they pay you instead of every 2 weeks, they pay you once a month, or or maybe they don't even pay you at all. Okay. Or they could also, this TVs that could also apply in a situation where uh, instead of getting payment, they're requiring more work, more services from you, and also requiring you to have sex with them. So you're also being used as a commercial sex trafficker. Like you're being used for sex, you're being used for work, and all of this is for free, or all of this is done in return for them not to get you deported, or in turn for them not to call immigration on you. Okay. It also TVs that can also apply just like violence in a domestic violence setting, in a domestic setting where you're married to someone and your person forces you to do all sorts of labor, okay, in exchange for them not to get you deported, or in exchange for them not to call ICE on you, or in exchange for them to give you back your documents. So if you're married to someone or in a partnership with someone, and your partner, your US citizen partner or US citizen wife or husband, is hiding your documents, keeping you from being able to move, that's a T visa right there. That's a human trafficking visa. All right. And so I just kind of want to open your minds up to the fact that, you could qualify for a lot more things than just the vow situation. So I will be opening up my practice this year to include human trafficking visas, and I just want you to make sure, I don't want you to miss out this year. All right. If that's you, let me put this phone somewhere here so uh I could talk better. Shoot. Lord, help me, Lord, help me, Jesus. Okay, we made it. All right. So in long story short, if you're working without pay or underpay or no pay at all, or you're working somewhere and the employer is making you, or worker is making you sleep with them in exchange for them not to call ICE, or in exchange for you to remain in the US, you could be looking at the T visa, which leads you to a green card. Okay. You also know we also do VAWA. Of course, my name is VAWA Queen. That's what we specialize in. We also do VAWA, which applies to you if your spouse is mistreating you, or a partner, or even a parent. Okay. And by the way, in the T visa setting, this could also help your spouse get a green card, your parent get a green card, your child get a green card. So one of the advantages that T visa has is you're able to add a lot more people in the application other than just your spouse or your child. It includes a lot more derivatives than VAWA. The other advantage that T visa has, even over VAWA, is that it waives a lot more. So it could even waive some huge crimes or issues, such as claiming to be a U.S. citizen in order to work, or claiming to be a U.S. citizen in order to vote. So uh, the T visa, in other words, is actually going to waive even more than VAWA. So coming into this new year, I want you to keep that in mind. But now, what to expect as we go into this new year? Trump has said he is going to begin deporting. Uh, like immediately he comes in. He said people will be going, they'll be going to people's jobs, etc. But honestly, I can't really explain or talk on this until January 20th. I really don't know what to say. Mama Leo. I really don't know what to say about what's going to happen until January 20th. So we don't really know what's going to happen until January 20th. Once January 20th comes in, we'll be able to kind of comment more on what should happen. Now, what should you do as a person to be prepared? I'm coming on here to talk about your many options today, just so you can have your options, just so you can call me and have a pending application. The general rule in immigration under every administration, under every president, is if you have a pending application, it's very difficult for the government to just deport you. The people they do usually can easily deport is those people who are undocumented and have nothing pending. So this is why I'm setting my time and taking my time to discuss your options with you today, because possibly you could qualify for VAWA, possibly you could qualify for human trafficking. I've told you that human trafficking is no longer defined as what it used to be. So a lot more people could qualify for human trafficking, even in an employment setting. Okay. Possibly you can qualify for adjustment of status through your spouse. You have a loving relationship with your spouse. Your spouse wants to file for you and get your green card. Possibly you could qualify for that. Possibly you can qualify for asylum. All four of these options are options we'll be doing this year for our clients. You can also qualify for asylum for people who have fled their home country due to some unrest or due to something they cannot easily change about themselves, such as race, nationality, religion, political opinion, domestic violence, sexual orientation, female genital mutilation. Okay, so these are four options I've just given you that you could possibly qualify for. Um, if I was you, and I know I don't have a green card, and I want to be prudent about the year that's to come, which we don't even fully know exactly how it's going to look like till the new administration comes in. I would have something pending, have an application pending, okay, so that immigration cannot just deport you without, in other words, without due process. So you having an application pending, whether it's VAWA, whether it's a human trafficking visa application, whether it's an adjustment of status to marriage application, whether it's an asylum application, okay, it could even be an O visa application. You having a pending application guarantees that you have some sort of due process before the government can deport you. In other words, if you have a pending application, the government owes you due process. But if you have nothing pending, then you've kind of left yourself open to whatever and whatever. Okay. So having an application pending, something, an I-130, an I-360, a T visa, I-918 application, you have something pending. You have an I-539 asylum application. You have something pending that will guarantee you some protection. So because I keep getting this question, like, what can I do? What can I do to prepare for the new administration? Have something pending. Now is not the time to have nothing pending. I guarantee you that about 50% of people who are listening to me qualify for one of those four things I just mentioned. You either qualify for VAWA, you either qualify for human trafficking visa. I told you human trafficking is no longer as absolute as it used to be. Now it applies to a lot more situations. So you qualify possibly for T visa through your employer. Maybe you're being abused at work, or your employer is not paying you, underpaying you. Possibly that's a T visa, or even your domestic partner or spouse is threatening to get you deported, hiding your documents, keeping you from being able to go anywhere, however you want to go. That's possibly a T visa. You could also possibly qualify for asylum. You fled your home country because of things like domestic violence, female genital mutilation. You fled because of gang violence. You fled because of something that was kind of hard for you to change, possibly asylum. You could also qualify for, many of you could qualify for adjustment of status to marriage. You have a good relationship with your spouse. Your spouse loves you, wants you to get a green card, and wants to petition for you. These are four options I've just mentioned. So, what to expect in this new year? Trump is going to begin deporting. He said as soon as he comes in, he said he could be going to workplaces. He said many things, honestly, that I don't want to discuss just yet, again, because I don't know exactly how it's going to go down till January 20th. But if you're a prudent applicant, if you're hearing me well, I've already told you the best way to protect yourself is to have something pending. because then the government owes you some sort of due process. So they owe you some sort of due process. They can't just deport you. Okay. In other words, you'd have to be taken to immigration court. They'd have to fight you. They'd have to do so much to get you deported. Versus when you have no papers and then you have nothing pending. So have an I-130 pending, an I-360 pending, a 765. A 485 pending, an I-539 pending, have an I-918 pending, have something pending. Now, someone said, are they still approving green cards? Absolutely. Yes, they are. And yes, they're still waving up. Yes, they're still interviewing some people. So I would say last year, I told you last year we had our most amount of green cards. Thank you for that question, Miss yours truly, Jen. Last year we had our most amount of green cards ever, and that's because I would say by the end of the year, about 80% of our cases were never interviewed. We just got a green card. At the very end of the process, they asked us for a medical exam. That's if we hadn't submitted it already, and then they issued us a green card. That's how about 80% of our clients got their green cards last year. Then the other 20% did have to go to the interview. So, what to expect this new year? The administration has said that they will begin, especially for viral cases, they'll begin interviewing you twice. Um, that hasn't happened. From what I hear from other colleagues, they have already started doing that. It hasn't happened to any of my clients just yet, and we have many, I must say. So for all of my clients, none of them have been interviewed twice. All of my clients have only had one interview, okay, except for the one that we talked about last week that had two interviews. That was just the 485 interview, but I'm talking about like two separate interviews. None of my clients have gotten two separate interviews just yet. It is happening, but hasn't happened to me just yet. Okay, and that's probably because I told y'all I don't file anything fraudulent. Every application we file, we tell you why we're filing, what it's based on. You are aware. You see your application before it goes out. You're very, very clear on what we are filing for you, how we filed it, on what basis. There is no fraud, and I think that honestly has contributed to what I just said. The fact that for most of our clients, we haven't gotten two interviews. And then most of our clients, about 80% of them last year, got their green cards without interview. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to start taking questions, and I'm going to take just about 3 questions. It's 3:48, and I plan to be out of here at 3:55. It's snowing. Okay. So I'll start taking those questions now on Instagram. If you'd like me to take a question for you, I advise that you get over on my Instagram. I advise you get over on my so I could take your question. Shoot, what did I just do? So I could take your question. Crap. Okay. All right. I'm taking questions now, and I'm taking 3 questions until 3 or so questions. However many questions I can take before 3:55. It's 3:48 right now. Hello? 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 Crap. What did I do? I keep pressing things. Hello? Can I file for my siblings in London? You can file for siblings, by the way. They are included in the immigration profile. But siblings, typically, if you're the one petitioning for them just on a regular, just based on the fact that you're a green card holder or a U.S. citizen, it could take about 13 years. Now, remember, I told you that this year we're expanding our practice to include T visas, human trafficking visas. Under human trafficking, you can file for your sibling very easily. All right, and it'll take very few. I mean, much less time than that. Probably about 2 years or so before your sibling can get a green card. In other words, if you're filing for a T visa and then you file for your sibling as a derivative, very, very short time. Okay, so that's my answer to that person. All right. Let me take these questions live. It says this person waiting, but I don't see. Okay, there we go. If you want me to answer your question live, which is how I prefer, by the way, when I come live, um, then you need to jump over to my Instagram, which is Vowel Queen. Just go to Instagram, type Vowel Queen, one word, and then you can come live. Hello. Okay. That person. I don't know what happened there. All right. Can a green card hold that file for an adult child? Yes, you can. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. How can I help you?
Yeah, my friend applied for the asylum case in America. Can he apply a visiting visa for his mom in India? And also, can he also apply a visiting visa to in Canada?
I don't know anything about Canada. But in America, I'm sure he can. I don't know if they'll give it to her. He can try. Usually,
Okay.
as long as you can show that the person has every intent of going back, they'll give it to her. And especially elderly people usually have no problem getting a visiting visa
From India, right?
from anywhere.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello? I had two people. What happened to the other person? Okay. All right. Hello? Hello? What's the difference between filing for a waiver and filing for vowel? So there's very many waivers usually that you can file with any application. So vowel is completely different way. So it's hard for me to explain, but a waiver is when you need immigration to waive the fact that you've done something wrong. Okay, so that's usually a part of just one of the applications you can file, even with VAWA or with adjustment of status to marriage, or whichever way you're trying to adjust. You can file for a waiver for immigration to waive something that you may have done wrong. Okay, all right. I hope that explains it. So waiver is just one of the applications. Okay. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. So I'm sorry. I'm a green card holder and I fight for my daughter. She's 14 and they recently just sent me request for evidence.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me to send the I-360 and the medicals and one other thing, IA for something for sponsorship. Am I supposed to fight that because I'm under VAWA?
I-864.
Yes.
There's a Okay, so which question do you want me to answer? You asked me two questions.
I just want to know if I'm supposed to fight for the support, whatever.
I thought you asked me two questions.
Oh, I can't remember the first one.
Okay. There's an I-864W that you filed for VAWA. So if they ask for the I-864W, that's correct.
Yeah, but I'm under VAWA and said you're not supposed to. So I don't know why they said that.
Ma'am, I just answered your question very well. So maybe when I get off, when you listen to it, it makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. If you have what's going on? If you didn't get to do your psych exam in 3 months, can you still? You can always do your psych eval even later on. Fun fact: I've won vowels, some vowels even without a psychological evaluation. It is a good thing to do, but I mean I've won one vowel, many vowels even without that. Um, you cannot apply for work permit renewal after the case is closed. All right, so I think it's 3:55. It's about time. I will try to do one more live question on Instagram. If I have one, I'll do one more live question on Instagram. Do I have any other questions here on on Facebook? No. So I'll do one more question here on Instagram live. If I don't find a live question, then we'll just call it a day. And I wish you all the best. But remember, with the new administration coming and them doing lots and lots of deportations, um, I would say now is not the time to be undocumented or in the sense that what I mean by undocumented is you have nothing pending. You have no application that's currently in process. And if you were here earlier in this live, I said the best way to protect yourself as we go into new administration and we don't know exactly who's going to be deported. And then I would say the government typically owes the rule of thumb in immigration is they owe you some sort of due process if you have some application in process. If you have nothing in process, then you kind of putting yourself in danger. So now is not the time to have no application pending. And I mentioned about at least four different things that you may qualify for: VAWA, TVs, asylum, adjustment of status through marriage. And even there's even more. There's an O visa you can petition for yourself based on your skill level if you're the top 10% of your field. So there's so many different things. That the NIW waiver, NIW visa waiver, which I don't do, but some other lawyers do. Okay, so there's plenty of options. There's something typically you can qualify for. I can't guarantee, but I almost want to guarantee you that if you call an immigration lawyer who knows what they're doing, there is typically something you can qualify for, something you can file, some application you can have in process so that when they're looking for people to deport you, they cannot easily deport you. They would have to fight you in court. They'll owe you some sort of due process before deporting you, okay? That's a general rule of thumb is if you have some sort of application in process, you have an I-130 in process or an I-360 in process, you have an I-539 in process, you have an I-918 T visa application in process, you've got something in process, you have an NIW uh, waiver in process, you have something in process, you have an O visa application processing, you've got something in process. Immigration owes you some sort of due process at that point, and you have not protected yourself. Okay, so for those of you all who are my clients and we have pending applications, you have nothing to worry about. Now, I always say all bets are off. If you go off and you do something wrong, you rape somebody, you beat up somebody, you get into a violent fight with someone, and you injure someone, or you file some fake checks or something, you do something fraudulent, all bets are off. No, even if you have something pending, you can get deported, even with VAWA that has deferred protection and TVs that has deferred protection. In other words, even with these applications that protect you specifically from deportation, you can get deported if you go out there, you do something crazy, you beat up someone, you steal someone's taxes, or you steal someone's checks, so you cash some fake checks, fraudulent stuff like that, wire fraud. You do something stupid, something crazy, all bets are off. Even if you have a pending application, remember I told you all bets are off if you do something stupid. Okay, you already have multiple DUIs and then you go and pick up another DUI. Oh, that's another thing I need to talk about. This year is not the year for you to be getting a DUI. If you don't have a green card or you're not a citizen, this is not the year for them to pick you up with a DUI. Remember, I told you, this is not the year, especially when they do mass deportation. So now they picked you up at a DUI. Now they can run your report and see you don't have any papers. Now is not the time for you to be picked up on DUI charges. And those of you who are in a partnership, you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, or you're married, this is not the year for them to pick you up saying you beat up your woman or vice versa. This is not the year for you to begin picked up for domestic violence charges. So this is not the year for you to be picked up for DUI. This is definitely not the year for you to be getting picked up for domestic violence charges or anything. In other words, this is not the year for, you don't want the police to pick you up over something you did, because now you've given them a right to pull up your papers, pull up your record. Now you've given them an opportunity now to possibly deport you, especially if you have nothing and you have nothing pending. Okay? All right, guys. Take care. Bye. Share. If this was helpful to you, make sure you share. Oh, and let me leave my phone number down here and pin it. 901-306-7123 is my phone number. You can also catch us at our website, warfulalaw.com. Okay. Bye. Remember, we're doing TV visas this year. It qualifies. It applies for a lot more people. If you want to know what kinds of people those are, when I finish, you can rewind to the end. I gave a very detailed explanation of what a TV visa is and how many people qualify for that. Even more people qualify for TV visa than law. Bye, guys. Take care. Oh, I'm still gonna stay on TikTok here for a minute, but let me end these other ones. Bye.